Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to costumeco. And we're going to be doing another costume designer interview today, except I have two designers. This is like, I'm really fortunate to have this. With me, I have Laura Jean Shannon, as well as Carrie Grace. They are both on the team, costume design team of the amazing show Murderbot from Apple Plus. I binge watched it. It's amazing. So highly recommend everyone watch it. Of course, it's starring Alexander Skarsgård. You can't go wrong there, right?
Certainly cannot.
Anyway, so before we get started, this is my first time meeting both of you, and I'm really delighted to meet you both because I'm a huge fan of both of your work, and I love The Boys. Such a fun show. And Laura Jean, I was mentioning to you as well, I was a big fan of Elf. Huge fan of that.
Thank you.
Of course, it's a classic. It's a holiday classic. We watch it every Christmas. So before we get started, though, if anyone doesn't know who you are, I just want to, let everyone hear a little bit about yourself. So Laura Jean, why don't we start with you? So how did you get into costume design, and what was your, how did you go down that pathway?
Sure, yeah. Costume design and I kind of had the universe put us together. I studied sculpture and graphic design in college, and would visit my big brother in New York City on film sets. And it became clear to me that you could be an artist and make a living and be collaborative with other artists in the film industry. And I thought, hey, let me try that for a year. Let's see. That was in 1991. And in terms of the costume design aspect of it, I actually sent a letter volunteering my services to all of the productions starting in New York at the time. And I was lucky enough to have my mentors call me on Scent of a Woman and say, hey, can you work with us for a day? Which turned into the entire project and many more. And it was, again, the universe just sort of showing me the right path, because now specializing more in sort of specialty costume design, I'm really getting to use a lot of my three-dimensional engineering sort of, model maker, which I also used to be sculptor brain. And it's been a wonderful journey, just creating characters and digging into the historical, sort of context of human beings, and finding my path winding along the way, which Carrie has been on the path with me for a long, long time now. We've been collaborating for many, many years, and it's been wonderful.
And then Carrie, what about you? How did you get your start?
I started actually in New York also. I started in fashion design though, and I went to school to FIT for fashion design. And after school, I started working in fashion, and I found it to just not be as much fun or as creative in a way as I mean, fashion is great, but it wasn't what I expected. And so I quit working for a big job that I had to work for free on an indie movie. And I too, after that, I sent out, I contacted anyone I could. They used to have a thing called the Mayor's List of New York that had all of the films that were being produced. And I don't know if they still have that, but just cold faxing my resume to all of these people. And and started working for free. Moved to Los Angeles about a year or two after that. And just started calling anyone I could, got involved with costume design, and worked my way up from being a costume PA to being a set costumer, a shopper, pretty much anything in the department, to a supervisor where I costume supervised for LJ on a couple of projects, then became her assistant costume designer. And then she pushed me out of the nest to design the pilot of The Boys. So it's been a great journey working with LJ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great because the way that we work is we collaborate, which is not normal. I design the specialty aspects of the projects, and then Carrie is the costume designer for the show itself at large. And it really helps us create a possibility to have sort of cinematic scope and aesthetic, because I'm given a little bit of a longer timeline to create my designs, and then we can still stay within a TV sort of budget and trajectory for Carrie to come in and nail the rest of the project.
You know, people don't realize how long the sculptural aspect of things takes, which is what LJ does. Because I mean, also as an ACD, I was, before I was pushed out of the nest, I was her assistant costume designer for the boys, working on the super suits. And that timeline, that extra timeline, is absolutely crucial to making these really incredible, you know, cinematic suits that you see.
So it's really hard for a costume designer on a project like Murderbot or Doom Patrol, which we also collaborated on, or The Boys, to take
My
all
husband's
of
a
that
huge
on.
fan of Doom Patrol, by the way.
Oh, yay.
He loves all
He
your
loves
shows.
all our shows.
Yeah, he does. He loves it. But I watched again. I've lurked watching.
Yeah. Oh, you must watch it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say, I don't want to. Everybody says, "What's your favorite?" You know, it's like saying, "What's your favorite child?" But the three
Mhm.
shows that Carrie and I have done together are three that are so near and dear to my heart, for so many reasons, and really give us the opportunity to jump into the world of political commentary and just humanity at large. And like Carrie was saying, with fashion not really being what she had anticipated it being, I think that, like, what she means by that and what I mean by how the universe found, you know, put costume design and me together, is that we're both so driven by humanity and human beings and the human condition and building characters. And whether you're building a superhero, a robot, or a contemporary, futuristic, you name it, any character, you're trying to get into their skin and figure out, you know, sort of what the context is of who they are. I have chills when I'm saying this, because it's such a thrilling experience that we get to have doing what we do in our craft, to work with the showrunners, directors, actors, producers, writers, to really find these stories by creating these characters with them all.
You know what? I'll have to have you both back to talk about The Boys, because I love to. By the way, I had Carrie Weinrock. She did the Supernatural. Like, I had her on. We did a live stream. It was so fun. Like, we just, you know, we did a whole thing on Supernatural. So it was.
That's fun.
I was a massive fan of that show as well before The Boys. Okay, well, we have to talk about Murderbot, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't know anything about this when I first started watching the show, which is sort of, you know, a really fun way to go in, I think, as well. But I understand it's based on a book series called the Murderbot Diaries. So before you both started this show, were you familiar at all with that series of books?
I wasn't, but as soon as I did get involved in the show, I speed read all of the books so quickly. I went through all of them. I went through the original short story that it was all based on. There was also a short story in an anthology book of other sci-fi content, and became obsessed. I mean, what an amazing character. The connection that you feel and the empathy that you have for him, for it, which is important, because Murderbot it is not even a them. It's an it, and he prides himself on being an it, not a human being. And and it's such an interesting character to read about. I immediately made like a 26-page document with all of the excerpts from all of the books that describe anything to do with costumes or their way of expressing themselves, all of the people in those books. But yeah, I just became quickly really, really obsessed with it. Martha Wells is so talented with such an amazing story.
I wanted to become obsessed with the books, but I was shot out of a cannon even more so than Carrie was, because originally my dear friend Joyce Schur was meant to be the costume designer on Murderbot and had a health issue, which meant she had to leave the show. And the producers that she was working with were the same ones we were working with on Titans together. And so they gave me a call and I took over and kind of jumped right in. They hadn't started prep, but they were about to. And she had already done some work with some concept artists and with the showrunners, with the guys, with the fellas, as I call them, the Weitz brothers. And so I jumped right in and read the scripts voraciously, and laughed and cried. I mean, like, had every reaction out loud that you would hope one would have. The scripts were so genius. And it immediately became clear to me that Carrie had to be a part of the project because I knew she would just get it and
Mhm.
geek out on it in that way that we joke that Carrie Grace is played by twins. And we needed somebody who has the capacity to double time, jump in, and really find a unique, sort of futuristic perspective for all of the stories that, were such quick pops. I think if there's one thing that the fans have been saying to us is we wanted more. If only they were longer, the episodes. But all the more reason why every single choice had to be just really spot on.
Mhm. I have to say, though, I do love the half-hour format because I've said this before with other, especially comedy shows. It's sort of nice. Apple Plus does a bunch of shows like that because sometimes you just want to watch, one episode. You only have a certain amount of time, so I do enjoy that. Um, but now regarding the fan base, so how did you balance the, between the source material and then, but also, you're trying to create a show here. It's visual. How did
Mhm.
you find that sort of balance there? Either of you can answer
So
that.
I'll take this one first, Care, if that's
Sure.
okay. So whenever you're doing any project where there's a fan base, which I specialize in for the last,
Oh, yeah.
10 years or so. I think, and if you go back at any of my interviews, it's like I get sick of hearing myself say this, but it's just the truth. It's like the most important thing is just really tapping into sort of the core of these characters and making sure that you infuse enough DNA of the characters from the canon, from the source materials, to give the existing audience something that they can sink their teeth into and be really excited about, while also being respectful that this is its own project as well, and bringing new visuals and infusing a different sort of philosophical approach to the aesthetic of all of the characters. So it's sort of this amalgam because then, if we do our jobs right, and I mean the cosmic we, starting from the fellas and all of the departments, Sue Chan, our production designer, all of the people, everybody really brought their A game. But if we're to do our jobs right, which I think we did here on Murderbot, because Carrie and I are also super fans besides being a part of the project. We just love it so much. Also part of that, by the way, I digress, but is because everybody on the show was so wonderful. It was a dream show. Like, it was genuinely one of the best projects. Like, everybody was just fantastic. And against all odds, because it was during a tough time in our business and the budgets were not, as big as they used to be for what the creative ask was. But again, me being tangential, we know that our job is to find a new, fresh audience, as well as making sure that the fan base is really happy with the work that we've done. So one of the things that I did was I looked at all the book covers. And in fact, Joyce, who by the way is doing great, had already been working with a concept artist that Sue Chan, our production designer, was working with as well, named Tommy Arnold, who I'm actually currently working with on the film I'm designing that Carrie is working with me on. And he was one of the book cover artists. So I wanted to make sure that at least some of our sec units had some of the architecture and topography of those sec unit suits. So when you look at the Deltfall characters, they actually look more like Murderbot on some of the book covers
Is
than
it
what.
is it like this one? The blue one? Blue and black?
No, those are the Gray Chris
Oh, okay,
characters.
sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Those are the bad guys. Deltfall is sort of the one in between. We see him early on when they're at the Corporation Rim. He's in front of Murderbot, who's sort of poking out from behind him. And it's also the units that the Gray Chris, who we just saw, kind of took over and turned into bad sec units, but
Mhm.
weren't actually bad sec units to begin with. And Murderbot, it was so important that Murderbot be unique to our show. and that Alexander felt right in the suit and brought it to life in a way that that was unique to his performance. And he had such wonderful instincts. He has such wonderful instincts. He's so fearless. And we really had a great time working together, just finding, you know, the posture and stance and movements. I shared with him a lot of still shots from when we would do our camera tests and our fittings, so that he could really see what his body looked like if he was, you know, sort of hunched over as opposed to our shoulders back, and he could find the voice. When I came in, one of the really important things for me was nailing the helmet, because, you know, it's TV, so you see a lot of this.
Oh,
And
sorry, I
so
got here. Sorry, I take it off as soon
no,
as
that
you're
was
doing the
perfect,
training.
actually,
Okay,
that you
here
were
I've got
throwing
it
the
here.
helmet. Yeah,
Yes.
because it helps give me some visual cues. So one of the things right out of the gate that I did was create a break line so that we could take the faceplate off if we were ever over the shoulder, so that he wouldn't have to actually have it on all the time for performance. But then all of the design elements that are the sort of dot matrix, we also incorporated breathing holes into, so that he wouldn't fog up in there and he could actually speak and breathe. There's holes in the ears. Just thinking about, like, the form needed to be really cool, but the function needed to be really comfortable.
Yeah. Sorry,
Oh.
Carrie, what about you? Did you by the way, we have a feline in this
Yes.
interview, which I'm a huge fan of cats. I'm always happy to have a cat in an interview. I think this is the first time.
Oh, well, you'll always
Baby.
have one whenever you interview Carrie, because she
Yeah,
is the
Baby.
I foster kittens for Best Friends
Oh
Animal
my gosh, what a
Shelter.
cutie.
she has her neonatal kittens that I went home covered in their
Oh
pee
my
with
God, I
yesterday
love
from
it
the
so much.
office.
I love
I
it
have
so much. This is wonderful.
I have two 2-week-olds as well, and then I have my adult 12-year-old guy, Pickle.
That's so great. Hopefully we
But yes,
see more.
yeah,
So Carrie, did you like regarding finding that balance? But I think that's what we were talking about, right? We're talking about the balance and, you know, respecting you know, the source material, but at the same time finding your own, you know, visual style or aesthetic.
sure. Yeah, you know, I mean, it's so important to make the fans happy, to have them, because they connect with the material already. I want to do justice to that. I want to give them what what makes them happy about it, you know, what makes them love the project. But at the same time, you know, in this one in particular, the first book really doesn't have that much information describing the preservation characters. So that was another reason I went through all the books, because I think it wasn't until book 3 that you get more information about their society and about those characters. And of course, we don't have all of the characters portrayed in the TV show that are in the book. Yeah, so I took all the information that I had about the society they lived in and decided to expand on that with how, you know, for example, when they're wearing their uniforms that are given to them by the corporation, when they go on their land survey, they go through a wormhole to get to where they're going, the planet where they're going. And you learn from the books, if you go through a wormhole too quickly, that means that there's a problem. There's probably an alien artifact involved, which is a very dangerous thing. So going through the wormhole is not that speedy process we think of with sci-fi. It actually takes time. During that time, what would they be doing? We don't see them through this process, but what they would be doing is enjoying their time, embroidering their costumes, adding their own personal flourishes. They're all artists on the side of what they do professionally as well. And so when you look at Rati, for example, his art was like line art, graffiti, ink, things like that. So he has line art on his shirt and also on the legs of his jumpsuit. So they each personalize things. And Arata, for example, embroidered little images from. We had a whole selection of stuff from Suchan that was visuals from their culture. So there's all this backstory stuff that no one even gets to see behind the scenes, but
Yeah.
I
They
try
feel
to
it.
incorporate it. Yeah, and I try to incorporate it in what you see when Bardwaj gets attacked in the first episode by the worm monster.
Mhm.
Oh, and my battery's about to die, so I'm gonna have to plug in. But when she gets attacked by the worm monster, her clothing is destroyed. They could put it through the recycler. It could be
Mhm.
fixed and made new again, but because in their culture they like to hold on to their experiential history, they instead do smocking on the area, and they repair it with sashiko, the Japanese art of repairing
Oh yeah,
clothing.
which is really popular right now.
Right.
It's hot. I've been trying to learn it.
So all of those things I incorporated. When Martha
I love
Wells
that.
actually came to visit, she was like, wow, that's awesome. She and she even said to me that she wanted to incorporate some of those ideas into the upcoming books that she was writing, which, made my heart sing.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
It's a huge compliment,
Absolutely. But you know what I loved about them is that I really think that you thought about like how would you want to dress if you were in this environment? And everything you've answered found all the solutions. Like you'd want to have zippers and pockets and little pouches, and you'd
Yeah.
want it to be cozy and comfy, and you could take off a layer if you're hot, or you could sleep in it probably if you needed to. And I just love that. And then you have lots of different textures and things. So I just think I love
One of my
it.
favorite things that Carrie did, which
Yeah.
she's probably about to tell you, is
Yeah.
that what you don't know is that every single one of those characters is wearing the same costume. She just
Pretty much the
personalized
same
it.
costume. So
Oh.
the idea is that
Yeah.
the corporation has the garments that they wear, and like you said, they're very functional, very utilitarian, also very kind of basic, when you compare it to Sanctuary Moon and the glamorized version of space travel and exploration. So this is the more mundane version. But the jumpsuits that they wear, like Rati is wearing the same jumpsuit. It's just tied around his waist with one level of the pant leg unzipped off. Inoma Mdumazweni, who plays Mensa, she's wearing the Shortalls version where it's unzipped above the knee. And Garathan has got the same one, but without the sleeves on it, with the jackets. Pinley is wearing, it looks like a vest, but when you look at at Arata's jacket that she wears, it's the same jacket, only Arata has the hood and the sleeves and both of the extensions of the body on hers. But
Yeah, like this one, for instance, is where you've got all the pouches, like when they're going, like you can unzip those parts then, I guess, right?
Yeah, they're all modular.
Modular, exactly. That's what I'm looking for.
If you were to unzip the bottom, the two lower panels and take off the sleeves and take off the vest, it's the same garment that Pinley is wearing.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, considering the corporation designed them, I think they did a good job. They're evil. They're evil, but I think that they're actually.
Get my power cord.
Oh yeah, not a problem. Well, actually, so Laura Jean, actually, this might be a good question for you then. So the story is told through Murderbot's perspective. So he maybe he's not a reliable narrator. I'm not sure, but how does he see the humans, and is there sort of a distortion there that happens through his lens, or is it pretty much what you see is what is there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good question. I think that part of the charm of Murderbot is it is distinctly a sec unit. It is distinctly recycled, sort of organic components mixed with robotic elements. But in some ways it has a childlike wonder and an innocence, but also sort of an apathy that combined together create such a unique perspective, really. I don't think that we can give Murderbot a human perspective per se, but in a way he looks at in a way we had to train ourselves for like a month
It must be
before we
hard.
started shooting. It's so hard.
Mhm.
In a way it has sort of, you can argue that its perspective is truer than a human's because facts, not feelings.
Mhm.
And that's a quote that I like to use all the time at work when things get a little bit rough. I say facts, not feelings, and it's charming actually to cut through the bullshit and just have this character express itself in a true way like that. It gets immersed in a soap opera, but it gets annoyed by its humans, but it also sees with these humans, and this is, I think, the part of why we feel so much sort of love towards Murderbot, is it's sentient and intelligent enough to recognize that though the universe, I should say, has sort of gone to hell in a handbasket, and most people are less than morally, they don't have a great moral compass, most people, and integrity has fallen to the wayside in a lot of the culture that is represented in this universe. Murderbot recognizes that the Preservation Ox people are different. It says that these clients are different,
Mhm.
and they care about Murderbot. And Murderbot, in all of its sort of sort of childlike factual perspective, can't help but develop a kinship with its humans and risk everything for them. And I could cry thinking about it, because the way that Alexander and his soulful, performance, he even said when I saw him at the premiere that he cried when he watched episode 10,
Oh,
because
wow.
how could you not? It's just beautiful and pure. There's a purity about it that's really enchanting.
Carrie,
And
when
funny.
you were, oh yeah, yes. Carrie, when you were designing the costumes, did you think about how it looked through Murderbot's lens, or did you not think that way?
That's a really interesting question. I didn't really consider it, but there are certain subconscious things that you always kind of do. And I think that's valid. Like, I mean, for him to be enamored with this soap opera and then to be confronted by these boring, quirky, weird people and have that juxtaposition. I mean, how confusing for him for it. And also giving him that sense of curiosity about what are these people about. Weirdos,
Yeah.
Making his life more difficult by being kind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's kind of reminds me of Galaxy Quest. The aliens believe that this TV show is what really, humans are like.
Yeah.
So I kind of love that. Now, so regarding the Murderbot costume itself, now I gather, like, so what's that process, Laura Jean? Is this something you do? Do you work with Carrie on that? Like, how does that whole process happen?
Are you Canadian, Heidi?
I am Canadian. You know that, right?
Well, you said process, so now I do.
Oh, do they say process in the States?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm actually in Toronto, and I know you shot the show in Toronto. I believe.
Big fan of Toronto.
Yay!
Love it. Yeah.
I am.
I
Okay.
actually have a show shooting there right now.
Well, and the boys, I think part of at least some seasons were done here, right?
Just all of the boys was shot in Toronto.
Amazing. Okay,
and
great.
We also have Vought Rising, which is a spinoff, shooting there right now. So Gen V also shoots there.
Yes, exactly.
So I was the sec unit designer, and Carrie designed everything else. And Carrie and I collaborated in that we do a lot of info sharing. So for instance, I developed the fabrics for Murderbot. Everything is custom. And she sort of, rode piggyback on that by grabbing some of the visuals and where I created them with high density screen printing and having there be sort of this tactile dimension. She took the visuals and created shirts and things for her characters that were a little bit more human bound, that less dimensional, less mechanical feeling. That's a great shot right there that shows
Yeah.
I love that one. Yeah.
yeah. And that's actually the logo for the corporation that you might also notice when you're looking at his helmet. Sorry, its helmet. It's also the logo, actually, the way that we developed.
Oh, I did not realize that. Okay.
Yeah, you're not going to
Wow.
unsee it
I did
now.
not realize that. I was wondering about the look.
I love to bake in Easter eggs wherever I
Yes.
can in a way that are really subtle so that you don't notice them until you do, and then you can't unsee them.
Yeah, because I actually love, like on the left, you have I love those sort of undershirts they wear, and whatever that motif is really fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
and it is
that's
exactly
motif.
the same motif as the helmet. That's the
Yeah.
corporation
and
logo.
So
in the
cool.
underpinnings for
yeah, I love those little Easter eggs. It's amazing.
Yeah, super fun. And then we also had to do, besides actually the building of the costume, for its, pristine look, which there never is one because he always should look old and worn. That's the whole point, is it's kind of a busted up, older model that these hippies want to take with them because they don't even want to bring one with them in the first place. So why are they going to spend any extra money on the newer stuff? It's sort of like how my mom taught me how to bargain hunt. So it's the bargain sec unit. But beyond the jumping off point, like you'll see here in this image, how it's got a dented chest plate. Beyond just the visuals of their suits and all of the sec unit suits and how we created all of them with my amazing Toronto-based team. We also created a backstory and a philosophy that there's nanotechnology that help, for instance, have the helmet deploy and retract. So you can see elements on its suit where there's a different piece on the back plate, whether it's deployed or retracted. But I also wanted to bake in the idea that since Murderbot is an older model sec unit and kind of retired, the nanotechnology is a little on the fritz. So if you look closely at all of the armor pieces, as opposed to the sleek armor pieces on the Deltfall and the Grey Chris units, even the texture from the get-go on him, it's degrading and it's breaking down. And then when there's damage that happens over the course of the episodes, of which there was lots, we don't always necessarily allow Murderbot to completely heal. So it lives with that dent for many more episodes, because we wanted to tell the story that this unit is given everything it's got for its people, which is an effort because it's not at its optimal capacity for its original development and design. And also, I just want to set the record straight, because I noticed that in your little pre-question questions, you had mentioned that you watched a little video of Alexander getting dressed. And it's hilarious. Okay, everybody. This was a promo shoot, and that was a gag. That was him in a hotel room with two of my team, James, who was the key builder of all of the Murderbot stuff, and Lucy, who was working with us in PR. And he's an actor. He was acting like it was difficult to put the
I'm
suit
glad
on.
you told me this. Well, I have to tell you, by the way, I put a comment like, I enjoyed this, and I had like 200 thumbs up on that.
There were so many people that were like, couldn't she have gotten the robot suit to fit him right? I'm like,
oh, I didn't know
robot
people were
suit
leaving those
fit
comments.
him
Okay.
great, guys. And also, it's a robot suit, so it's supposed to be snug, but we actually have many fittings where we talk about comfort and we make sure he can tinkle, and we have all of the tricks in there. So when he was struggling to get the suit on, that was just for comedic effect. Just so everybody's clear. He could get it on real quick, real easy, and it's pretty darn
Yeah,
comfy too.
I just enjoyed the part where he lay down on the bed because it reminded me, you
Like
know, in the
70s
80s,
jeans,
I used
yeah.
to wear Jordache jeans and I'd have to lie
Yes.
down on the bed to get my
Wiggle
zipper
into
up.
him, totally.
Exactly. No, anyway, I thought it was really fun and I loved it. But I love how he says, "Here I am, Alexander Skarsgård, transforming into Murderbot." It was just really fun.
So cute. I know.
Yeah.
I loved it.
So yeah, obviously you did several prototypes, and how many iterations in the end did you have? Like I don't know.
Oh,
this
that's
process
it. We
myself.
just built we just went for the gold. Yeah.
Wow.
There
Wow.
was no time for
No,
It's like
iterations of
C3PO. Let's just,
anything.
Yeah.
slap some pieces on there.
But I'm a true believer in spending the time out of the gate getting the concept right and really because I have an engineering brain where when I'm designing something, I'm also building it in my head and I know if it's viable. And when I work with my concept artists, I work with them in such a way where I'm very specific about exactly what we're depicting. And I will not show anything that I don't know 100% I can build. And that doesn't mean that I don't want to push the envelope and, sort of make new rules to create something that hasn't been seen before, because I always want to do that. But it has to be done in a way where I've built it in my head and I know it can be done so that I'm not torturing my team or promising something I can't deliver. So the concept art should look identical to the finished suit, and it always does. And the concept art week goes through so many levels of approvals, executive producers, showrunners, the studio network, actors, everybody. So I don't have, unless I want to be in a world of pain, I don't have any leeway anyways. I have to build exactly what I designed and got approved by everybody, so that later when we have zero time to make any modifications, we won't have to anyways, 'cause everybody will love it.
Oh, by the way, Carrie, I'm assuming this is you were responsible for this look here.
Yes, and you know what that actually is. In the beginning of the show, you see Murderbot with a group of partying, working guys. That's actually the same uniform that the working guys are wearing.
Oh.
He happens to run into them in the transport terminal and steals the bag from a guy and grabs his clothes. So that's another little
That's
Easter
so
egg
Murderbot.
there. Yeah.
Well, that
sounds like something it would do. I say I used it. I did the proper pronoun. Is that even called a pronoun? It?
Be like jerks.
It also wears it's sort of like because sometimes they have to dress him, right?
At the end, there's the hospital gown,
but then they also put it in.
It's also got the Corporation Rim logo on it, by the
way. Oh yes.
And one of the more like humorous things about this is also in wearing a hospital gown, we had to be sure that he wore the magic underpants that he wears as Murderbot, because of course Murderbot is genderless, and men don't always look genderless when they're wearing drapey garments across their lap. So it was important to have
that's a technical thing you had to tackle.
Magic underpants, yes.
Is that what they're called, or are they tidy whities?
No, they were actually.
Oh no, they were magic.
LJ's group built the magic underpants.
Amazing.
And it's just
the things we have meetings about.
Wow, I can't even imagine.
Oh, you just get us started about the deep.
About the what? Sorry.
The deep from the boys.
Oh, the deep. Oh my gosh, yes. Oh, I can't even imagine.
A little deep.
We had a little deep.
Yeah, by the way, one of the scenes in Gen V that I was watching, I just saw at the side of my, it was a man who had a nebula or something in his butt, and then all these people were coming out.
Yeah, it happens.
I was like, I don't even know what's going on there.
Those
That's
writers,
crazy.
They think up some crazy cuckoo banana stuff.
All right. So I know we're running out of time, so I really want to get to this. So Murderbot. It is obsessed with soap operas, and someone in the '80s is an '80s girl. I love the YNR, so I totally get it. So, can you tell us a little bit, Carrie, about designing the costumes? Like it's sort of a show within a show, right? The
Yes.
rise and fall of Sanctuary Moon, and I guess from the show itself, it sounds like it's not even really people. It's not respected. It's not really. I don't know.
It's fluff.
It's fluff,
It's
exactly.
bubblegum
That's
fluff.
yeah, exactly. So do you want to tell us a little bit about the costumes? I've got some
Sure.
pictures here I can pull up if you want to.
Yeah. So of course,
I mean, this is amazing.
This is the exact opposite of what it's actually like to do space exploration. Here we have people who are so glamorized and so nicely dressed. And I just think it's hilarious that Murderbot is so obsessed with something that's so just like the opposite of real life. And for John Cho, actually, that was his space ascot. You might see, you might notice there. That's what we called that. His shirt garment. Yeah, I don't know what to say except for they were a lot of fun to design. It was hysterical. I loved using all of the beautiful, bright, rich jewel tone colors.
Of course.
And I loved putting Alex in the rubber duck yellow. Sorry. And having all of the other this space crew around him wearing the same costume. And I mean, I have to give a shout out to the hair designer because I think the hair was so phenomenally done.
Absolutely. Yes.
Those mutton chops are unbelievable. And John Cho's hair and Alex's hair during the whole Sanctuary Moon.
The mutton chops were probably makeup, right? Or no?
Yeah, actually they were. Yeah.
But even the hairstyle here, that's awesome.
Oh
yeah.
Nod to flock of seagulls.
Exactly. Yeah. I love the colors. Did you have, was there some descriptions in the book about this, or is this something that you just came up with the palette?
Again, there really wasn't. And so working closely with our production designer, Sue Chan, that's where we get into what's the look of the ship, what would the costumes look for the people working in that environment, what's going to complement the setting that they're going to be in. So absolutely. That one was hysterical. All of those I see cucumber looking
villi.
Yeah. It's kind of like the anemone or whatever they call it.
Yeah. And they all wiggled when you shook the table slightly that they were on.
It's amazing. It's so much fun. Yeah. And so I'm hoping is there a season 2?
There's going to be a season 2.
Wonderful. Yep. And I had somebody ask me this. I told them I would ask you. Is it being moved from Toronto to Europe? Is that true?
Well, we're not at liberty to discuss. But that's definitely a distinct possibility.
Okay. That's very sad for us in Canada.
It is. Yeah. Yeah, because everybody worked so hard and did such a wonderful job. And
our crew was incredible.
Really, really great. Just top notch.
Yeah, I always get lovely feedback when I have a costume designer on who has worked with a Canadian crew. They always say such lovely things. And
I've been working in Canada since 2000. That was, I think my first job there was 1999.
Wow.
Designing a film there. I did Scott Pilgrim versus the World there a million years ago. And have had, shows there for now 10 years. And I have people that have been with me on all of those shows and wouldn't trade them for the world.
Oh, well, that's really nice to hear. I always say to people that we're, as Canadians, we're very insecure. And, whenever we can, because we always, we're sort of like compared to the United States, we're like the cousin or something. And we're always like, pay attention to us. So we always, honestly, we really appreciate the shout out. Well, I don't have much time left with you both, but I just want to thank you both so much. And now, are you allowed to talk about what you're working on, or is that like a hush hush secret?
Not yet, technically.
Not yet. Okay.
But yeah, we're the big secret keepers until the time comes and we're allowed to share, and then we get really excited to do so. It's like, oh my God, we had to keep this secret for 2 years, so yeah, we're not allowed to discuss it, but we're having a great time. We're going to camera soon, which is a little stressful, but we're having a lot of fun, as we always do. We're really lucky. And we're just, so happy to have the opportunity to talk with you about Murderbot specifically.
Oh,
Because
it's so great. And it's kind of like, just in this day and age, it's just so nice to have something really funny and endearing and sweet and just like, just a nice little escape from everyday life because things have gotten, pretty serious
yeah,
in our own world, right?
Yeah.
So
True.
it's just nice to have something like this. And
Definitely.
I want to thank you so much. And I just love the costumes and I was delighted to meet both of you. But maybe I can have you back about the boys at some
Yeah,
point.
we'd
'cause I
love
would
to.
Yeah.
I would love to because I don't even know how many seasons there are, like 5.
5 seasons. We
Yeah.
just finished shooting our 5th and final season. Talk about us keeping a secret. We knew it was going to be only 5 seasons for years, but they
Yes,
finally
okay.
announced it, so I can actually like speak the words.
Yay.
Yeah, we just finished shooting that.
It's sometimes
in
nice
spring.
to know when you will be having that end
Well,
because
yeah,
it
because
must be
then you
very
can end it the
stressful.
way you want to end it too.
Absolutely, on your
like our
terms.
story,
Mhm.
it had, I always call Eric Kripke Nostradamus, and he was able to just really take it to his conclusive end that he wanted to. So that's pretty gratifying.
Well, anyway, I want to thank you both. I also want to just shout out to Kat. Thank you for making this.
Thank you, Kat.
Thanks, Kat, for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. And for everyone who's watching, hey, check out Murderbot. It's on Apple Plus right now. All the episodes are out. You can watch it. And
Yep.
Alexander Skarsgård's in it. Of course, I've been a huge fan of his since True Blood. Oh my gosh, right?
Well, he's very deserving of your
Yeah.
adoration because he's just a lovely human being, a really genuine person,
Mhm.
just a
Yeah.
unique individual in every wonderful possible way imagined.
Which funny thing is, like, I actually years ago worked as a set costumer on True Blood.
Oh my gosh.
So
Yeah,
she's come
so
super
I met
jealous.
him years ago.
Yes,
and
I was
then,
like, suck it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both again so much, and
Heidi.
everyone we're watching.
It's
Okay.
always fun to talk to a fellow geek who
Oh yes,
appreciates the
absolutely.
work
And that's
that
what
we
I am, a
do.
total big nerd here.
Well,
Okay.
you're in
Us
good
too.
company with us too.
Okay. Well, take care, everyone.
Thank you
Bye.
so much.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you.